Hello and welcome to your 2018 Sagittarius Great Mother Speaks full moon reading. This year it is on May 29th. Great Mother speaks to those of us who are experiencing mama drama trauma. This deck and these readings are specifically designed to offer clarity, balance, and confirmation to those of us consistently and persistently experiencing abandonment or abuse from the mother or maternal figures that impact our lives today. This person could have abandoned us in childhood or could abandon us in adulthood through addictions or through death. This is not about blame or shame. This is about identifying how we feel as a distinct human being from the issues, unhealed issues, traumas imposed upon us in childhood. I am Tammy Taylor, an inner work life coach specializing in mama drama trauma condition, in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. Now, in cases where the mother is unable, unwilling, or unavailable to heal, loving detachment is required. So we talk about that in the readings. We deal with mothers oftentimes who change like the phases of the moon, and so it's difficult for us to distinguish how we feel from our mothers. And so these lunar readings are designed to cultivate, to nurture, and to actually grow and evolve the space within us to have the ability to do that for ourselves. We look at the sidereal, the soul sign. So the sidereal moon sign, this full moon is in Scorpio, in the nakshatra of Anudra, that vivacious, creative, caring, stellar mansion in the sky that the moon will be in, as it is reflecting the light of the sun in Taurus in the nakshatra, the beautiful, enhancing, gracious Rohini, this composure riddled, compassionate, devoted, noble energy of the sun. So we look at the soul astrology, the sidereal, to ascertain that soul space. So if you are Sagittarius, that means that more than likely your sidereal sign is in Scorpio, making this your first house, and also your halfway mark of your Lunar New Year. Be sure to check out in the playlist your Lunar New Year readings if that hasn't happened for you yet. Stay tuned, because every new moon marks the Lunar New Year for your new moon sign. So the Taurus Lunar New Year readings have just been posted, and the Geminis will be coming up. Of course, that is Taurus Gemini with the Taurus in the sidereal. Now, these are posted according to your Western. If you're new with us, want to be sure that you understand that the full moon in terms of Great Mother is really focusing on really paying attention to what those new moon intentions were that you set. We've been doing some readings that focused on those new moon wishes. Great Mother offered 5. It suggested that 10 be a maximum. Want to do some research on that? Go to greatmotherspeaks.info/vlog to see what those suggested new moons readings have been for the last 2 months. We're going to kind of move away from that. As you practice on your own, you gain your own rhythm, you gain your own stance of understanding how that energy works. These readings will make a lot more sense to and for you. With this full moon, we're really looking at the cleansing, purification aspect of what has come forward as a result of your new moon intentions. And so again, you might want to check out what those suggested ones were if you did not set them by Great Mother, and to see what is coming up in your internal life at this particular time, as this full moon in Scorpio Sagittarius purifies, cleanses, and really tests the mutual feelings that you have. Now, mutual feelings have to do with, of course, our personal and professional relationships. With the moon reflecting the sun, it's always on the opposing sign that we find that solar energy. So the sun now is in that Taurus and the sidereal Gemini in the Western. So your moon sign attraction will naturally be to someone with that Taurus, Gemini, Sidereal, Western axes. Of course, the Western astrology has to do with our emotional ego energy. Western astrology is an earth-centric astrology, and we do the reading from that place to have a conscious hit from what Great Mother is saying from that deeper space, and you find what resonates best with you. So, with no further ado, here are your May full moon readings from Great Mother Speaks. Well, hello, Libra, Scorpio, moon sign people. This full moon in Sagittarius is second, 8th house energy for you. The moon is in your second house, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and the sun that is being reflected in your 8th house is in Taurus, Gemini, Taurus in the sidereal and Gemini in the western. That sidereal soul sun is in the nakshatra of Rohini, that beauteous, compassionate, devoted, noble sign of Rohini in Taurus. And so the soul is really having a light being shown upon it from your moon sign in sidereal of Scorpio and the nakshatra of Anudra, which is very vivacious, creative, and caring, to show off the beauty of your vivaciousness, the compassionate nature of your creativity, and your devoted nobility as it relates to how you care. You care for yourself and you care for others. That's on a soulful level. In your moon sign of Libra, Scorpio, in your second house, we're really talking about your values, your desires. And as you know, if you watch the new moon reading, your new moon wishes, which you might want to revisit, talked about Uranus, or actually also considered, I should say, the energy of Uranus having now moved into Taurus as of the new moon in Taurus in the second house in the collective consciousness. And so your collective lunar consciousness now with the moon in your second house is really amplifying sudden insights as it relates to your values, your desires, reflecting this 8th house energy in Taurus, Gemini, of this beauteous kind of transformation that's occurring for you, a very passionate transformation. And so we see that you are approaching this full moon with an attitude of processing. You are processing something that is occurring in your life. Maybe the need to lovingly detach from your mother or someone like your mother who is demonstrating abandonment or abuse to and towards you. Maybe you are reflecting on how those patterns you grew up with are being expressed in your life as a mother or in your personal life, in your relationships, because full moon energy also has to do with the other. It is the opposition of the moon and the sun, and of course Great Mother Moon, Great Father Sun, that kind of purifying what no longer serves the relationship. And so maybe some things are coming to clarity about values that are not shared, or things that make life worth living are very different for you now in a close partnership than they were before. Maybe you are inheriting something from someone who has passed. Maybe there's been a death and you're processing, you're grieving that death. Whatever it is for you, you're approaching this full moon needing to rest, needing to reflect and recuperate from a major transformation in your life that has to do with a person or a situation that you have tremendous passion about. Your transformative opportunity this full moon has to do with you already having asserted boundaries necessary in order for this processing to occur, or Great Mother coming through encouraging you to do so. This is new moon energy. So maybe since the 15th of May, 2 weeks ago, was the new moon, you have recognized this, or issues have come up to identify places in your life where boundaries are needed. Remember, boundaries include a 3-step process when we're talking about loving detachment. Boundaries always require our definition of what they are. We can always change the definition, but we want to do so carefully, because the initial planning of what the boundary is, say that I do need the time and space away from so-and-so in order for me to process how I'm feeling, that needs to be clearly stated. It's a gut feeling. And that's just the first step. The second step is that boundary has to be established by consistent, persistent stating of the need for the boundary and actions that follow it up. And the third step is to maintain those boundaries through the 2 prior actions. So Great Mother is saying that you've already established the boundaries that you need to process, or that you're needing to do so, and not to overlook the fact that if you haven't done so already, you will be rewarded for doing so. And if you have established those boundaries, you're experiencing those rewards right now. Now, those rewards are rewards that you may, prior to this major transformation, not have recognized as rewards. Not having to spend time with such and such because now you are processing how you feel about this transformation. In the past, you would have thought, oh my goodness, I could never do without my aunt, or I could never do without, my children for this period of time, or I could never entertain being without my mate, or that, I'm cultivating this new value and this desire in my life for clarity, and it's requiring all this stuff. I would have never thought I'd be able to follow it through. And you're realizing the fact that you have followed through with it is rewarding you with greater peace. That's surprising you. It's rewarding you with greater self-appreciation, confidence, esteem. And you never knew that. If you, again, have not established those boundaries, you don't know that is exactly what that is going to deliver for you. And it's needed in order for you to, this full moon period, take advantage of the energies that are supporting the expression of your selfhood. How you truly feel to be expressed authentically and beautifully with this Anudra and Rohini energy, creatively and compassionately. You need that self-confidence. You need those boundaries in order to do that, in order to take your power back. Maybe you've never felt your power before. And so these energies are converging for you, Leo, Scorpio, Moon people, in order for you to experience a death of a prior way of you living your life, perhaps, in order to engage your life in a more authentic way. What you may not realize is that even though you have been terrified to do this, many of you, there's some indication that this is really, really hard for you to do this. You're open to it and you're doing it anyway. Those of you who this describes, you are feeling a tremendous sense of courage now. Your heart is in a whole different space than it was this past November. If you think back to November, that was your Lunar New Year in Libra, Scorpio Moon people. And right before the holidays, just kind of think about where you were emotionally. You would not have entertained this at all. And some of you may still, after all of these months now, since your Lunar New Year, be on the fence. But in order for you to express what you now know that you're going to explode if you don't express it, but you want to do it in a way that serves you and doesn't alienate you any more than you already feel alienated, you're going to have to just trust the process and open yourself up to it. It's been a long time since your Lunar New Year, and you've been getting downloads that this is what needs to happen, and now the energies have converged in such a way to really support you in doing that in a way that people will interpret more than likely as caring and as compassionate. You may not realize this because in your shadow position, Libra Scorpio moon people, is Rhiannon. So there's a lot of self-doubt. You don't feel capable. You don't feel able. You feel that maybe even you're being misguided somehow, or you are delaying your decision to establish boundaries because you really haven't gotten to a place where that is your desire to shine your light. You have some apprehension, Libra Scorpio moon people, about shining your light. And Great Mother is saying that with the sun in your 8th house, it is all about rebirth. You're dancing with it now. It's happening in your life. It's happening all around you. People are dying. Situations in your life are dying. Work situations. The hookup that you used to have at so-and-so, you don't have the hookup there anymore. And so how is this going to work? And your bank account is changing. You're getting that inheritance, or maybe you're having to change banks, or how your annuity is set up, or your CDs are set up. All of everything is coming up for renewal. Everything is expiring. And so you're already in this process, but you're not recognizing what you are passionate about and what you've already learned since your Lunar New Year. Remember, the Lunar New Year, it begins your new moon. And so your new moon in Scorpio is in that November Scorpio new moon. And Lunar New Years travel backwards. They go from the new moon to the balsamic, or the waning crescent moon, to the 3rd quarter moon, and then the waxing crescent moon back. Okay, and so you are just after your full moon, which was last month. The Libra Scorpio full moon was in April, and so that was your full moon, your halfway mark. And so the halfway mark from your Lunar New Year is an expansion. It's not a waning from these monthly readings. It's an expansion. And so you, since your April full moon reading at the end of April, April 29, you are further expanding this internal awareness that you're processing, but there's still, for many of you, some self-doubt about it. Okay, but this full moon, as it expands, okay, and it is actually, a revising, an editing, it's going into the waxing gibbous, okay, and you are revising yourself, you're processing all of this. And what Great Mother is saying is that with this revision, okay, with this resting and considering this balsamic, okay, or this waning crescent moon, it's all about you consciously accepting the fact that your divine expression is coming through all of this. All of this that you're experiencing is so that it can come through. And boy, does it want to. You're being totally energetically supported by the sun and the moon at this time to establish those boundaries necessary in order for you to do so. And you will have the confidence and the self-esteem. Once you take the first step, your angels, guides, and ancestors will help you with the next, no matter how fearful you may be of opening yourself to it. What's going to facilitate this process for you is just recognizing that there are some fears related to past experiences of abandonment and abuse that are affecting you to this day as it relates to this situation in your life now during this Scorpio Sagittarius full moon. You have new values and they're still kind of being pulled back from old conditioning. You have new desires in your life. And Great Mother is wanting to reward you, if you haven't already experienced the reward, through the primordial father energy of combining with the great father energy of the sun in Gemini to assist you with communicating in the world. Okay, that Western emotional ego energy of the Gemini sun, being supported by the Taurus Sidereal sun energy, solar energy, which is in the nakshatra of Rohini, which is all about beauty. So beautiful communication. Okay, downloading that composure and compassionate, devoted to what? Devoted to that selfhood, that self-expression that is being reborn. So it's understandable, when something is new, we kind of ginger around it. The newborn baby, people are still trying to learn how this baby needs to be held in order for it to be safe and that sort of thing. And so this is a newfound sense of value, sense of importance, what's important in your life, sense of what makes life worth living. And you're being encouraged to know that you are supported in this and going forward with your inner wisdom. You will have everything that you need to confirm what you know. Remember, inner wisdom and heart chakra is about that ego-soul communication. This new moon being your outcome card, new moon heart chakra card, Sophia, is saying that by the new moon in Gemini, about 2 weeks from now, you will be clear about which way to go, and you will have less of this cumbersome feeling of self-doubt that you have now as a result of meditating on some of the things that Great Mother has shared with you in this reading and just taking it in, because it doesn't really matter which way that you go. What matters is the intention that you have as you travel. And as long as your intention is to honor your divine expression in a way that is truthfully authentic about what you have experienced in the past, not being what you want to bring forward, but being something that will strengthen you as you go forward as opposed to weaken you, you will be on your way to a more expanded sense of self as you move into the fall season and your next Lunar New Year. Thank you so much for listening to what Great Mother has had to share with you with regard to your internal space, your inner world. Please share with me how this has related to your new moon wishes. I'd love to hear how that has worked out for you. But until next time, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too. For more information about Mama Drama Trauma, visit mamadramatrauma.info.